Before we start, if you've seen this merch in my store, this video will make sense of everything behind it. Rolling the Dempster. It's a pun and my attempt to lighten a rather heavy topic. You can find a link in the description below. Thank you for watching. Are you okay? Where's my Zolio? I'm alive, yes. But how did I get here? Welcome back to the channel. You are probably wondering what happened to us after watching the intro. I will try my best to walk you through everything in this video. If you are new to my channel, well, what a great way to introduce myself to you in such an episode. My name is Monique. 2 years ago, I decided to move to Australia. I bought this 2005 Toyota Landcruiser and named him Alto. After the big lap around Australia, the world closed down. I brought the cruiser to Canada as it hit 15 years old in early 2020, made a sleeping platform inside and traveled mostly solo. In the last stretch to the Arctic, I picked up a passenger. Julia had taken the flight to Whitehorse to join me. In the last episode, we reached the Arctic Circle. So yes, I made it. I reached the Arctic Circle. But on the way back, we left Eagle Plains at around 11 a.m. To get to Dawson City, I had over 400 kilometers of remote gravel road covered in fresh snow. That's about 6 hours drive. At around 4 hours mark, Julia woke up from a nap and we started talking while coming out of an S-curve. Immediately, I heard Julia scream. I panicked in a jerk. The next thing I heard was a series of her screaming followed by, "Are you okay?" The vehicle had lost control and rolled down the slope, tumbling several rounds and eventually, and fortunately, landed tire side down. It's amazing how much can go through your mind just during that split second of the rollover. I definitely had my life flashing in front of my eyes. And that's why I waited till when I'm at least somewhat calm and collected to talk about it. There's a lot of useful information and knowledge and resources that I've learned from this experience that would really otherwise cannot be done, cannot be gained. And all of these, I feel like, will be valuable to any traveler on the road, whether you're remote or not. Not everyone gets to drive on Dempster Highway, and not everyone who has driven Dempster Highway gets to roll their vehicle on it and walk out of it safe and alive. I'm definitely one of the luckiest ones out of the lucky ones. So let's go back to that moment and let me walk you through what happened exactly and how I managed to get her back, to get the vehicle back, to get myself back. So once that vehicle landed, again, luckily we were tire side down. The vehicle was still running, but we weren't able to make ourselves back onto the slope, back onto the road, and plus the front windshield was all shattered. My first reaction was to get out and look at the situation. But once I looked around the vehicle, realized we popped 2 tires, and there's no way we could drove up through the pile of trees back onto the road. Where's my Zolio? That was my first reaction. I activated the SOS function on Zolio through my Zolio phone app, actually. then just stood on the side of the road in my red jacket, tried to make myself as visible as possible. I would say probably within 10 minutes, I waved down a Kenworth truck. When L slowly stopped in front of me, the first thing he asked was, "Are you girls okay?" So everything's fine, no injury other than a black eye. At first I thought, oh, it was just my makeup. It was only later I realized I did get a black eye because the snow was reflecting so bright. I was wearing sunshade while driving, which you should, otherwise you'll get snow blind. And during the rollover, the shade must have been riding up along my nose bridge, pinching this whole line up until in my eye crease. And when we finally settled after the rollover, the sunglasses was no longer on my face. So I was left with a black eye. The next day, my eye was so swollen. Elle picked us up with our nightly belongings. I'm so sorry. So when we were packing our belongings from the vehicle, another Tacoma drove past. He also stopped and helped us. Climbing up the slope, gave us a hand to put the luggage into the empty truck trailer. Elle drove us back about another 2 hours to Dawson City. He drove us straight back to Dawson City, a guy named Sean. 2 hours later, we met Sean at the shop and said bye to Elle. He still have to go, keep driving, and go down to Whitehorse. Long drive for those truckies. And Sean drove us from the shop to the hotel. This was, I guess we call it day one. And during the time when Elle was driving us to Dawson City, I satellite messaged one guy. Do you remember the blue Ram I ran into on North Canal Road? Hi! Among all the emotions I was experiencing at the rollover, right after the rollover, one thing that stood out to me the most was how to take care of Julia. Her safety is my top priority, and how to get her back to Whitehorse so she can take her flight back to Vancouver was, I guess, the most important question now that I don't have a vehicle. So I solo messaged Andrew, I don't want to scare you, but I had a rollover, we are okay, I might just need some help to get from Dawson City to Whitehorse. His reaction was simply, holy shit, I'm coming up right now. At this time, he was in the Nahanni Range, which is east of Watson Lake, possibly 16 hours away from me. That night, when we got back to the hotel in Dawson City, he already drove from the Nahanni Range out to Whitehorse. He took a night in Whitehorse, and it was then he had the thought of, hey, why don't I rent a U-Haul trailer? I can tow. I remember when we first met on North Canal Road, talking about vehicle load, and he was bragging about how he had a lot of load because he had a full camper on top of his truck, and he could still tow a lot. And now, here you have it. Later he said, it's always good to have more than what you need, more capacity than what you need, because you never know when that will come in use. Day 2. Sean from Chief Isaac Mechanic agreed to bring me along for the rescue mission. They usually don't allow owners to tag along, so he really went out of his way. I hopped into the passenger seat of his Peterbilt tow truck and we went on to the Dempster once again. This time, on the positive note, I got to see Tombstone in a sunny day, because the days I was here, weather was ugly and cloudy. There was a smaller tow truck going up the Dempster as well. If you remember this scene from the last episode. Wow. That smaller tow truck was called out to rescue that Tundra right there. Sean had the biggest tow truck in northern Yukon, enough to tow a semi-truck with fully loaded trailer, so I really hit the jackpot to have rolled when he was available. My little nugget was a piece of cake for Sean's tow truck to work on. After towing the car back onto the road, he changed my spare tire to the passenger side rear since that was debeaded. Removed rear drive shaft so the rear wheels can roll on the ground as we tow it back. So basically, coming off that S-curve, lost control there. From there, rear tire went in. This was my front tire still biting the road. The vehicle was already like this way biting it, and then that's probably the first indent of where it started to roll, and then bounced to here, and then from there broke off one window flare where my snowball blew out, and then started to roll multiple rounds until it landed eventually even there, tires down fortunately. And the ironic thing is today it's sunny, such a nice day. Didn't snow yesterday. We came up at the worst 2 days when it was snowy, foggy, not solid on the ground. Here we are, get to come back again on a sunny day, although not the way I wanted. I have the BCAA Premier membership, which covers the roadside assistant towing distance up to 320 kilometers. Round trip from the shop to the accident location was closely within this limit. In the same time, Andrew picked up a U-Haul trailer from Whitehorse and arrived at Dawson City in the evening. Day 3, we loaded the vehicle on the trailer, and yes, the cruiser still runs. It's misfiring, possibly spark plug popped out during the rollover, but I drove it on the trailer. Said bye to Sean, and it was just when we were about to leave, he got a phone call, and just like that, he was off to his next job after getting me on the trailer. And we get to see him work while we were on our way back too. He was rescuing a propane trailer, I believe. Andrew made room in his car for Julia and me. He drove us from Dawson City to Whitehorse on day 3. Al told me to check out Brayburn Lodge on the way back to Whitehorse and try the cinnamon bun. I did. It was massive. So day 4, we were able to get Julia an early flight back to Vancouver. She also had some tasks she needed to deal with selling the house, and even during our travel, whenever she gets reception, she was on phone with her boyfriend talking about how to deal with things. So literally in this case, it worked out in a good way that she came back earlier to deal with things that she really just couldn't escape out of. In a way, she was planning to come out for this trip during this time so she can sort of push all these things to the boyfriend, but hey, girl, you can't escape it. Quite frankly, we could have died if the Landcruiser crumbled more during the rollover. I've been beating myself up that I had put her in such danger. So here's a little update on Julia. Not sure if the accident made his boyfriend realize how much she meant to him, but on December 3rd, he dropped that one knee. They are now happily engaged. Huge congratulations. And that day, I also contacted ICBC, calling them just to confirm if it's okay for me to tow the vehicle from where it happened to Vancouver, because I believe
insurance don't really like you to touch it yourself.
Hi. So, a quick update since I've been spotted by... I've been getting some comments already of people seeing my car in Whitehorse on a trailer, all scrambled up and asking if I am okay. Right now is 3 days after when it happened.
On day 4, we also did was, the vehicle was all cracked up. If we drive like this back to Vancouver, rain is going to get in. And remember, at this point, all of my belongings are still in the vehicle and everything is going to be wet. If we just top it up, it's going to get shredded on the highway in no time. And we thought about duct taping and everything, but it's still not going to be completely well. This is when Andrew had an idea of shrink wrap. A lot of boat owners shrink wrap their boat during winter for storage. And there's also scaffolding that have shrink wraps on. He found the only shrink wrap company in perhaps the whole Yukon. I called the guy, Kyle. He was able to do it over time for me. That night, we visited his shop. He shrink wrapped the vehicle for me. Did an awesome job. So here, I guess, is another tip. The only way to completely seal a vehicle out of the rain and snow and elements outside is to shrink wrap it. And if you're up north looking for shrink wrap, Kyle at Arctic Wrap is the one to go. So from there, day 5, we started our journey down back home. It took us about 3-4 days to come all the way back. Even when Andrew just picked me up, his tire was barely able to make it. And Andrew goes to Adam's off-road shop here locally in Langley. And I've been in contact with Adam the whole time about this incident as well. He really needed a new set of tires. So he ordered this set of tires. Adam was willing to take on the labor and install on his end as his thank you for him helping me and also just resembling the quality of people we need on the road. And I bought him the set of tire as well as a service because really I couldn't be more thankful of Andrew doing this to me. It means that I ended his trip early, that he didn't need to be home just yet. So this little bit gesture of me is just one way to put people like him back onto the road sooner. Hey, you never know when he will encounter another girl with her car on the side of the road that will need a tow. That's why you have a Ram, right, Andrew? After we're back, it was a long, dreading battle with ICBC. And for those of you outside of BC, we basically have a monopoly in car insurance here that you can only go through ICBC. There is no other options, no other choices, so everybody goes through them. More than half of the time, it's not very pleasant. At least they still allow me to get the buyback option, so I kept the vehicle with whatever salvage value they value it at, and their evaluation of the vehicle itself, I would say it's peanuts. It definitely is not enough for me to buy another Landcruiser or anything really. But that's not the point. The point is we experienced this quite catastrophic thing and walk out of it safe. It is not easy to go through, and it was only until coming back, sitting in my room alone, that a lot of the PTSD symptoms start to hit me. Because even during the whole way back, I had so much adrenaline on me and I was always in problem-solving mode. I really didn't have other attention to spare. And I know most of you will be saying, oh, I'm glad you're okay, wishing me well. But at the time, I just really didn't have the time and energy to reply one by one. That's why I have to wait till at least get the situation somewhat straightened out to have a complete picture to you guys. I don't want to make this video super long. I know I've talked a lot about how the situation went, and most importantly, the people that helped me, Elle, the truckie that picked me up from the incident, Sean as Chief Isaac that towed my vehicle back, hauled me back, Andrew, who just did way more than what I could ask for, towed my vehicle and myself back home safely, Kyle from Arctic Wrap that did overtime on the shrink wrap to get my vehicle back on time as soon as possible. I don't know what I'm going to do next. The cruiser saved his life for mine, and couldn't be more thankful to Elthorpe. I know there's a lot of things I could talk about.
I apologize for not speaking so fluently in this video. It still stirred up a lot of things in me recalling the whole incident. There are too many people and organizations that left me endlessly thankful. I could talk about so many things I learned from this. You know, I always feel like an imposter talking about remote safety because honestly, I've never had anything serious happen until now. I think I've earned myself the qualification to talk about remote accident survival now. Satellite communication, roadside assistant membership, and a well-built vehicle. Seriously, the vehicle held its shape so well after tumbling through multiple rounds shows what a Landcruiser is built with. And there's no doubt that rhino rack prevented the roof from caving in too much. This brand of solid roof rack, tested in the roughest condition in Australia, is now tested in the Arctic as well, by me. I could go on to talk about what happened after Zolo SOS was activated, but that's probably too much to stuff in one video. Let me know if you'd want me to talk about it. Despite no visible bleeding, we have been suffering a lot of pain. As strains and bruises coming to surface, the fullness of the emotion behind this experience is still coming to light. Gratitude pervades. Body heals and I have accepted help. Therapies weekly. Well, not how I originally planned for this trip to end, but honestly, I wouldn't have traded for anything else. The people I got to meet and learn their stories, the experience I've gained. I would never had a chance if not the accident. One of the essential skills for a traveler is the ability to make a rather extravagant fool of yourself, laugh and grow through mishaps. Looking back, I'd say it was a heck of an adventure, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
And I'm not good in cities. My biggest problem is you can be in a crowd of thousands of people and you're alone.
Oh yeah, I totally feel what you mean.
That's one thing about up here.
Yeah.
People don't look at you strange if you say good morning and start having a conversation.
No, yeah.
And I have actually, because I go to the cities, right?
Yeah.
And you say good morning to somebody and you go to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, they're like, what do you want?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, I don't want anything. I just want to have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And lots of people don't, it's kind of funny because I watch it here and people will come here.
Yeah.
And it freaks them out how far it is between places, right?
Yeah.
And they want to talk to you, but they're not sure if they should, you know?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then you start having a conversation with them and they relax and,
Yeah.
you know, they get, I think the city's kind of, you lose your humanity in the city.
Yeah, definitely. Systematic way of doing things.
Yeah.